How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a nice cold day down here in Australia. Whereabouts in your part of the world? How's the weather? It
It's
looks nice.
very quite a sunny morning here. I'm not yet quite there, but
Mate, when are we ever? I get to the afternoon. I always blame it. I only just woke up. I'm not there yet. But then it comes to 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'm like, no, I'm still not there yet. No, just sit, just live in that constant state these days.
yes, yes, yeah. But the weather is nice.
Oh, that's good to hear. But mate, how exciting you get to come down here and experience this weather for the first time in wow, I can't believe we're already in August. You must be making your way down soon. How are you feeling? Are you excited?
Very excited, very
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, it's the first time I will ever visit Australia. I've never been there, so yeah, I'm thrilled.
Beautiful. Is there any, have you heard any superstitions or any strange things about Australia yet you need to wonder if they're true or not, or you're just going in blind?
I'm going in pretty blind, but
Yeah.
of course, I'm very well aware of all the great artists that have come out of Australia, and I've heard many, many good things about the place and the people. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to finally get there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good, and it's going to be good to have you down here as well because you kind of bring a little bit of a difference. Your music, it's very different to what we normally get touring down here. Don't get me wrong, we've had some influences in the past that are similar to an extent, but what kind of made you want to journey out and kind of go all over the world? Is it just to share your music with people, or is it a bit of self-discovery at the same time, walking different planes of life?
I just want to see the place. I mean, that's it's obviously a great honor to be invited, and that
Yeah.
people want to have me there. And it's an exciting place with an exciting history. So when you get the chance to do that, of course I'm in. And yes, of course I want to share my art and la la la. But yes,
Look, I can't blame you. I just got back from Europe myself where it was rainy the whole time. And I got back to Australia. It was beautiful, clear skies. And I was like, oh, you know what? I like traveling, but God, Australia is a wonderful place to be. So I'm looking forward to that you get to experience that, mate.
yeah, yeah. I'm
What?
not looking forward to the travel itself, the flights and all that, but it has to be done.
Oh, what do you mean? You don't want to fly 25, 26 hours all the way to get here? Yeah,
Oh, on Friday.
yeah, I know. It's not a lot of fun. But talk about it. Now, you've been doing this for 20 years now, the band. And people never have to wait long for a release. It's a bit different with you. You've got what, 20 albums now? Would that be right saying that?
Thank you
Or
for sure. Yeah, there's a couple more, I guess, by
yeah.
now. Yeah, yeah. I've been busy.
Yeah, I was going to say you're busy, but it's an interesting thing to put out so much music. Do you ever get that writer's block, or is it just something that you don't get and you've just kind of got it in
I
you to
don't.
put it out?
Yeah, I don't believe in writer's block.
Mm.
I think that's just no. I mean, the way I work, it's really. I mean, I love doing this. The work, it's so much fun. I just enjoy it so much, and it's really what I love spending my time with, and satisfying my curiosities, and working with friends on pieces of music. I mean, it just doesn't get any better. Unfortunately, you have to go out there and sell it, but I would be very happy to just stay in and write and record. That'd be fine by me. And I love to read, and
Mm.
that's where the ideas come from. So I'm constantly uh, toying with ideas in my head about stuff, and it's just very enjoyable to me. And then sometimes, of course, there's things happening in life or the world that are not so enjoyable, and I have to write about it because that's what is coming out of my pen at that moment in time. It's not necessarily by choice; it just happens. But no, it's just I love doing this, and if you look at it, every record probably has like, let's say, on average 12 tracks. The year has 12 months, so working on a track for a month, it doesn't seem like too being too busy, really.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, when you put it that way, and you're right, you're an artist, and it's not like you've got a big band where you need to get five, six people together. You do have the
yeah.
freedom to kind of write by yourself, so that does help as well. And do you ever? I know you do collaborate and do things as well, but do you ever get that itch to work with other people, or do you kind of prefer keeping everything close to your heart?
Yeah, well, there's sometimes I employ actual
Mm.
musicians to, let's say, play a cello or the violin, some stuff I cannot do, and also my friend Tom, who's with me on these productions, also cannot do. We play anything else, but there's some string instruments or trumpets or whatever. If we want the real thing, we cannot do that. So I would ask actual musicians, and otherwise, collaborating on a songwriting level, it's quite tricky.
Mm.
I can contribute to someone else's stuff. Don't have a problem there, but stay out of my kitchen.
No, that's I've always found that interesting when talking to artists about that, because I'm a bit like that myself. I've always found it very hard. The only other person I've ever trusted with writing music with, funny enough, is my brother. So, we've
Right.
kind of got that kind of connection. So but we also butt heads a lot when we do it too. So I understand it's important to kind of, have that kind of inner thing, because it's your art at the end of the day. And if you release something just because someone else had their, say in it
Yeah.
at the same time, you can always be disappointed in what comes out. So it is good.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that, of course, the recordings themselves, they are collaborative
Oh yeah.
efforts.
Yeah.
But the right lyrics and the basic music, that's always coming from me. And then I am quite open to ideas to enhance it, to make it better, because if you like a song and you want to record it, maybe you don't really have the eye for its weaknesses, but somebody else might. So I like to get second opinions and stuff. And so it's not just me doing that. If I were doing those things alone, everything would sound totally the same
Yeah.
all the time because I have a limited palette. I cannot reinvent the wheel every week and all of that. So when you get people into the mix that way, that helps a lot. But yeah, as far as the concepts, the ideas, the lyrics, that's really just me.
Yeah, and I think you can only get away with doing everything yourself for the first album, because I can't remember who said it, but you've had your whole life to write your first album. And then after
Exactly.
that, everything changes. So it is important to have people come in and go, well, let's change this. Otherwise, I think that's the worst thing an artist can do. And sometimes fans like it when bands sound the same or artists sound the same all the time. But you never truly grow. And are you really an artist at that point? Or are you like a McDonald's just putting out the same
Right.
meal constantly?
Yeah.
So I get
Yeah.
what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest album is always the second album
Yeah.
because you've worked on this baby so long with your friends, and then this first album comes out, and if it's the worst that can happen if it's successful.
Yeah.
And then I avoided that whole, well, first of all, by not being that successful, but also by releasing the first couple of albums back to back, like
Mm.
really fast, which was also composed of lots of music that had been piling up because I've been playing in bands before, and then when I got the chance to record under the moniker Rome, I just said, okay, well, let's go. This is my moment. I'll just get, nothing's going to come from this. I might as well enjoy the ride for a few months.
Yeah.
So I did, and I kind of circumvented that whole second album thing by just releasing three of them pretty early on in a quick succession. So, but yeah, it is, and that was a move to just say, okay, hi, I'm here, but
Yeah.
don't judge me that one. Like to give people a little more to get a feeling for this
Yeah.
project, and just to be free to do whatever you want after. So that's the freedom I tremendously enjoy. That's like people kind of know that they don't know where I'm going next, really. I mean, it's like the identity is always there. It's always the voice and guitar mostly, but so much other stuff changes, and I think that's a good way to keep it fresh and interesting to myself, really.
It was a clever way of doing it, putting them all out kind of back to back. Because like you said, it really does. If you offer, it's almost like a meal. If you offer up three different plates and they're all a little bit different from each other, but everyone has similar ingredients when they cook. Everyone's got a favorite spice they go to, but you can actually serve up almost three different meals. People go, okay, it's not all the same, but I get the idea. It's all got a familiarity to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get an idea of the cook and not of one plate. So
Exactly. No, it's a good way of doing it. But this is the one thing I needed to ask you, because, like I said, you've got all these albums that you've done, basically one a year, 1.5 a year, whatever it may be. How do you go about choosing your live sets? Because you have got hundreds of songs. It's not like you're Guns N'
yes,
Roses where you've got three successful albums and you just rotate between that. You've got a lot
yeah,
to choose
yeah.
from.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for a long time, it was really just the band um, members that kind of made it obvious which songs we should or could play. Like depending on who's in the band and how many there are of them, and what they play, and do we use backing tapes or not. So there was periods where it was all just purely live band or stripped back three-piece, but with lots of backing tracks and all of that. So this changes and gives you opportunities to do maybe songs that you couldn't play otherwise. So currently we have like a lot of drums on stage for this new tour, and a lot of the louder songs we picked, dark, whatever you want to call them. So a little less, not so heavy on the ballad stuff, because we want to have fun and we want to take the people on a ride. So we picked, because we got this new drummer and it's all a little more tribal, so we picked a lot of those dark things, which I think people will really like. I mean, it's very enjoyable to ourselves, actually. Whereas I have to say the Australian tour is actually a solo tour, it's stripped back acoustic. So it's just me on guitar, which is like the complete opposite. And I kind of revisit the back catalog, and the songs just like, it's more like the songs in their original form, the way I wrote them before they got turned into this other thing in the studio. So it's a kind of an intimate glimpse, and the set list. Sorry, that was a long.
No, that's what I want to hear. No.
And like with the solo stuff, I don't really have a set list. I know what to start with and what to end with, and what happens in between is kind of like I'm trying to read the room. Sometimes you're in a place that's quite loud, depending on where the bar is and how long some people haven't seen each other and they feel the need to talk.
yeah, I know that.
So, and when you're alone with your acoustic guitar, like whatever happens in the audience is much louder to you on stage than it is in the audience, because they have me through the speakers, whereas in the monitors I'm not that loud. So if they're quite noisy, then some of the ballady stuff I'd just leave that out, because it doesn't work in a room like that. But sometimes people are very, very receptive and super quiet, and then you can really take them on a more intimate ride with like the very slow songs, stuff like that. So, and then you change it up again or whatever. So it's quite a challenging thing to do. Whereas with the band, it's like it's a machine, you push play, and then there's breaks in between and all of that. And we try to even sometimes talk to people, but it's really just, we have this all choreographed almost. It's not really a big production, but we know what we want to do and we do it. And we can tell the promoter, like, the show's going to last 72 minutes or whatever, whereas in the solo bit, it's like at some point somebody will,
wrap it up,
or not, like flashlights coming up.
I love that. I love that you've kind of done it with what you start with, what you're ending with. I'm going to use what it reminded me of. You might completely disagree, or you might go, that was a really weird way that your brain worked that way. Reminds me a lot of professional wrestling, where they know what they're doing at the start. They know how they're going to end the match,
right?
But they've got to go off the crowd to go, oh, that's not working. Oh, let's try this. Oh, let's move on to this spot. All right, let's wrap that up, go here. I know a weird term to use to describe it, but that's instantly, I was like, oh, yeah, you kind of got to, how you're starting, how you're ending. You got to read the room to kind of fill out and create an entertaining spectacle, I guess, to the people that are there. Because some people might be really in this one thing that, the night before did not work at all. And then you've got to change it up. So is that, as an artist, exciting for you to do as well? Does it keep you on your toes, or sometimes does it get a bit frustrating?
Both,
yeah.
If you're having a good night and you think you're the king of the world, but then again sometimes you just bomb. That happens too. So but it keeps you on your toes, and it makes the whole thing really challenging. And with the band, you're kind of in your bubble. You've got in your monitoring and all of that, and you cannot really feel the room and the people and their emotions that well compared to when it's solo. But sometimes, during the solo shows, I think I'd rather be behind some, there's no running away, and there's no tricks up my sleeve or anything to enhance it in some productive way. But
Yeah, no, that's no, it's interesting and it's cool as well. But yeah, you've been doing this for a while now. You're touring, you've got the band, you've got the solo stuff. Surely you've had some interesting experiences out there on the road, and I'm sure you'll create some in Australia as well. Is there anything that when I go, have you had an interesting experience while being out touring? Was there anything that came into the back of your mind right then, being like, yeah, that was interesting?
Well, lots of things. I mean, we toured quite a bit in the
Yeah.
last 20 years, so we would have to narrow it down by subject matter. And like, there's a whole catalog of strange
Yeah, I
things.
was going to say anything strange that you can say that it was almost like people wouldn't believe it. They almost had to be there to experience it.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes it's just surreal for us that we get to do this. You
Yeah.
know, you travel to some faraway place, and there's actually people waiting for you. It's still weird, you know, because I mean, Rome is not that huge. We
Hmm.
we have fans all over the world, but they're all spread out quite thinly over the map. So there's no big stadium tours or whatever, obviously. So it's always very rewarding when you meet people who are actually into what you do, and that never gets old,
Yeah.
really, you know. And especially for me, what has been the most exciting things were probably going on amongst other artists backstage, whatever. You know, you meet people that you never thought you'd meet, and then
Hmm.
some of them turn out to like your stuff, and it's like you think you're in some weird movie. So there's all of that, you
Yeah.
know, where they burst your bubble in a way, in a good way. So
No,
there's that.
no, that's what you want at the end of the day because it's one of those things. And I was going to because you mentioned so spread out. I've seen your Spotify stats as well. Have you fallen into that trap over the years where now you can go into your Spotify and go, people in this country and this city like these songs more than these people in this country, or have you kind of avoided looking at that?
Oh, I hate stats.
Yeah, fair.
I'm hardly on Spotify. Um, I'm sure the label checks those
Yeah.
things, though doesn't much help me in my writing. I don't worry about that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. I mean, yes, sure. Sometimes it's interesting to see. Like they would send me a list of the countries that visited the whatever, you know, like, and you say, oh, you see some countries on the list where you go like, really? Like I wouldn't have thought, you know, some countries we never played live, and the percentage is quite high compared to countries you play in all the time. It's kind of weird,
Strange.
but then again, Spotify is one platform.
Mm,
It's probably the most important one in many regards, but it's just one. I mean, it doesn't really say much about France, for example, who use different. I mean, this is where like this whole numbers game. Like, okay, I'm happy if our numbers go up, I guess.
yeah.
And of course, but I've seen it also go the other way, and people behind the scenes they don't really know that much about it, you know,
Mm,
because the big players they kind of set the rules on a whim, like how they count what, and you know, you invest in advertising, but then you know, like there's someone who can tweak the buttons this way, that way. I mean, it's not really a fair kind
yeah.
of game. So we don't have the money to really play it, so we just kind of not worry about it. So any growth we see, it's quite natural, so that's good. You
Yeah.
know, we didn't pump money into some machine to get the results. That's not worth anything anyway. So
Exactly. It's like when you go to Google and you look something up, I always skip past the first five that say sponsored, 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 because
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
no, they've just paid money to get in front of me. I'll go to the one that's under that. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, here we go. That's the real thing. And
yeah,
it is good. You're right. Natural growth is probably the most important thing in a world, especially in a world that is so fast paced now with, your
yeah,
TikToks and your Instagrams and everyone's attention span so short. You want to grow organically because they're the people that come back. They're the people that actually enjoy what you're doing at
yeah.
the end of the day. Because you've got that type of music too. And I've been listening to it over the last week. Very relaxing, I find as well, but I find the lyrics very deep and meaningful. And I've got to say, without hopefully you don't blush, but your voice is just so unique in a way. Being an Australian, it did give me some of that almost Nick Cave and the Bad Seed vibes for a little bit there. I don't know if you're a fan, but
Very big fan,
there
actually.
we
Yeah,
go. There we go. Instantly, I was like, it's kind of like, it's not like that, but it reminds me of that. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I find it quite, it's almost soothing in a way, but at some points it was almost haunting in a way. It would skip song to song, and I thought, oh, it's very interesting. Maybe it's just lyrical, and I'm not picking up on that as I'm listening to it, but maybe that's what it was.
Well, thank you so much. I grew up with that school of thought.
Yeah,
Like Nick Cave, Leonard Cohen to me was a big name when I was a kid. When
yeah,
I didn't even understand English, but it was quite clear that he was a good writer just
yeah.
from hearing the voice and the way he said the words. And that was just. I was like 7 or 8 or whatever I was when I first heard it, like on a car stereo, and
Yeah.
I was just like, "Wow, who's that man? I want to know who's the prophet,"
Yeah.
and all of that. Although, like I said, I didn't understand a word, but it was clear that it's good stuff, some deep stuff going on there. So that was always, and then the cave, of course, did the earlier stuff, especially. I grew up with that.
Mm.
It's amazing stuff.
It's funny that you mentioned that you didn't understand it. It's funny how music can transcend language barriers because I listen to a lot of stuff that's not in English, and I barely
Right.
speak English well. So to listen to other things that resonate, it's just funny. I don't know sometimes if it's just, if something's good, it's good. It's like if
Yeah.
watching a foreign film, if it's good. It doesn't need to be in your native tongue for you to enjoy something, even if you have to, read subtitles, for example. But I do find that art is one of the few things in this world, one, can bring everyone together, but two, really just blast out language barriers. It's one of those things that just doesn't seem to really hold it back.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked English to be the tongue spoken in Rome,
Yeah.
for it to be able to cross, boundaries a little
Yeah.
easier. But we play a lot in countries where people like they kind of understand English, but communication in English is still kind of tricky. But they love the music and they probably just get not even half the lyrics.
Yeah.
But then again, they get all of it because they just feel it. There's so much stuff that you don't really need to understand the words to feel what's going on. But of course, with Rome, there's some subject matter where like I put a lot of effort into the
Yeah.
words, so I like people to understand it all. But there's the music as well to just make it digestible, I guess.
No, exactly what you mean. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything you want to say to the Aussies that would be watching this, and especially if someone is watching this interview and they haven't heard of you before and they're interested in going and searching you up now? I know this is probably going to be hard because it's like picking out your favorite kid, but where would you tell someone to start and what can they expect from this tour?
Well, we just released a remixed version of one of our classic albums,
Yeah.
Flowers from Exile. I think that's probably a very good point to start
Yep.
because it shows you a little bit of the various facets that are omnipresent in Rome, I guess. And then if you like that, kind of take it from there.
Yep.
The Jenny di Riodoro from 2019 is also, I heard, described as a banger. So, that one I think is also the Lone Furrow, that album,
Yep.
and that's already too much information, I guess. But,
Hey, it's a start. They can look it up now. That's the
yeah.
beautiful thing. But mate, you're coming down at the right time of year because end of August we're getting just about into spring, so it's going to be beautiful weather for you. You couldn't have picked a better time for your first time to Australia, so you're a lucky man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
No,
It's
of
been an absolute
course.
pleasure.
No,
All
thank
right.
you. Well, enjoy your flight.
Cheers.
Cheers,
All
mate.
right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.